Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another match of the Cape Town Sevens. Some would call it the main event. Two undefeated sides so far in their first two contests. Now go head-to-head right at the end. Now these two sides are both confirmed as quarterfinalists. It's just more of that question of who will they be playing. The options are either New Zealand, Australia or Great Britain, depending on how well they go in their current game. Up against the USA, but the starting lineup for the South Africans, it will be Kewan Nokia, Ryan Oosthuizen, Selvin Davids, Tian Pretorius, Zane Davids, Roscoe Speckman, and Justin Goodgold, the last man in the starting side. Then for the Irish, Hugo Lennox, Zach Ward, Gavin Mullen, Sean Cribben, Shay Mullins, Harry McNulty, who was able to have a very successful last game of the group stage, and Jack Kelly, the last man there on the starting side. They've actually opted to go with Terry Kennedy coming off the bench. South Africa doing a little bit of a similar thing with a few of their players, giving them the chance later on in the contest to try and have that real impact. But either way, I feel both of these sides will bring a very fast-paced game to close out the night in Cape Town. Both want momentum heading into those quarter-final fixtures. There are already two quarter-finals, though, that have been confirmed. That will be Fiji versus France and Argentina versus Canada. Now, USA have actually just scored, which now means if this conversion goes over, they will actually go to golden point time, which means this game between South Africa and Ireland will be just that little bit more delayed, but that is all right. We have still got plenty to talk about in terms of what is next for these sides. But like I mentioned, Great Britain, they actually were much needed to get themselves a victory there so that they could walk away with a possible quarterfinal spot. It would come down to points differential between them and New Zealand. New Zealand's points differential currently sitting on 4 compared to Great Britain, who currently have got the points differential sitting at -19. So more than likely New Zealand will be advancing. With how close that game between those two sides is, you mentioned there is a Champions Cup game going on at the moment as well, Bulls versus Saracens. Sadly, due to the overlap of this game, we won't be able to cover that one, but next weekend we are going to be doing a lot of the Champions Cup, so anyone who is a fan of the Union side of things, be sure to stick around for that as well. I think South Africa are going to win this game too, says Bruce. Do you think it's more than 5% chance that Ireland win? Because I know you were giving USA a hard time for being considered as the heavy underdog, but they kind of delivered. Like at the end of the day, South Africa, they got those couple tries right at the end of the contest. Their first game, they were a lot more strong. Up against Great Britain, winning at 19 points to 5. Nokia has really been stepping up, which has been fantastic to see. And all good, go the USA, says a Robert in there as well. So yeah, golden point time between USA and Great Britain currently taking place. Neither of those sides can get through to the quarterfinals. It's more of the technicality of who will it be that feels like they've got that momentum at the end of day one. But do let me know your score predictions for this game, ladies and gentlemen, and also who you think will be the key players. Of course, coming off the bench for the South Africans, they have got quite a few of those familiar faces, mainly Impivisa, the one who wasn't in the starting lineup, who has been in recent games. DeWalt Human coming off the bench, Machali's there, Aletebele, and also Ronald Brown, who's been a fantastic late injection into the side anytime the Blitzboks do play. They've got Terry Kennedy, Jordan Conroy, Mark Roach, Niall Comerford. This actually looks like a very strong Irish bench, and they'll be hoping that the team that they've put into the start can keep it close enough so that they are then able to close out the game with the possibility of scoring some late tries. Another Hamish, great commentary. Says Desmond, thank you very much for being here, mate. It is greatly appreciated. Like I mentioned, USA, Great Britain just going to golden point time now, so we do have to wait for that game to finish before the Blitzboks and Ireland take to the field. And I feel like that is the beauty of Sevens as well. When you think that you're ready for a certain game to take place, there's a late curveball in another contest, and it makes you wait that little bit longer. I hope the Blitzboks win this game to qualify for the quarterfinals, says Desmond. Well, the good news is they have already qualified. It's just the question of will they be playing Australia or will they be playing New Zealand? So the way that it currently sits, if they were to lose this game for South Africa, they would play Australia, the same side as they did play in the quarterfinals in Dubai, which they were able to beat 24 points to 7. If the Blitzboks win this game, they will be going head-to-head with New Zealand in the quarterfinals. And the other way around is if Ireland win this contest, they will face New Zealand. If Ireland lose, they will face Australia. So it's just more of that question of do you want to play either the Kiwis or do you want to play the Aussies in a quarterfinal? Those The big questions, Fiji versus France has been confirmed. It was an extremely close game the last time those two sides did go head-to-head. And then the other confirmed quarterfinal is actually Argentina versus Canada. That is once again secured for another matchup in USGB extra time. And currently, it is actually Team GB who are on attack. I feel like if they were to win this game in extra time, it would disappoint them that little bit more, seeing as they were so close to being able to make their way through to the next stage, but they would miss out on points differential. They look like a deliberate knockdown, so it will be the yellow card, but these two sides just about to take the field in South Africa and Ireland, ladies and gentlemen. Like I mentioned, both sides having 2 wins from 2 in the early stages of their campaigns in Cape Town. It looks like there's a little bit of push and shove taking place between the two sides currently on the field, USA and Great Britain. The Blitzboks, a New Zealand quarterfinal would be my choice, says Desmond. Yeah, it's going to be an epic game. If that is the case, New Zealand, they've been struggling a little bit in terms of their form. They've lost 2 out of their 3 games in the Cape Town Sevens so far, losing to Canada, and they also lost to Samoa, although in between that, they won by 30 points up against the Australians. Australia beating Canada, Australia also beating Samoa, so yeah, Australia is almost the informed side out of New Zealand or Australia, minus that game that they did lose up against the Kiwis in the middle. But South Africa, like I said, they have been undefeated up to this point in their Cape Town Sevens campaign. They're actually undefeated for the 2023-24 season of the Sevens, currently 8 wins from 8. Ireland, they aren't sitting too bad overall. I think that they've probably had, I'd say, 5 out of the 8 wins, somewhere around there, which, to be honest, like doesn't sound like that much, but it's more those playoff games that were hurting them. So Great Britain will win the game between themselves and the USA. So that has been confirmed, but I don't believe they will go through to the next stage due to the points differential not being increased enough. So it will still be New Zealand and it will still be the Australians going through to the next stage. South Africa pretty dangerous at this stage. If their tails are up, says Sean Lee's exactly right. Like, they've done everything that they've needed to today. They've got themselves the 2 wins, but now it's about trying to put on a show for the people in attendance while also securing another massive victory. We look at some of the sides that they have won up against in their 8 wins. They've beaten New Zealand, they've beaten Samoa, they've beaten Fiji, Argentina. They haven't beaten Ireland yet this year. So they'll be looking forward to that chance. But Great Britain, they will finish 3rd. USA finishing in 4th in their group, just the 1 point on the board. I got the sad face there from Robert. And bet the Redcoats go the USA, says Robert there as well. But it does look like a very decent attendance in Cape Town. It seems like the atmosphere has built throughout the day. That could also be because of the alcohol that's been consumed as the days progressed. But looks like everyone's having a great time there. What makes South Africa a great side in your opinion, Hamish? Says Sean Lees. I think I mentioned it, and it was probably the best way to describe it on the preview that I did for this match. And I said that South Africa at the moment are playing so well as a cohesive unit rather than playing as a few individuals who are doing well. Now, that can be hugely beneficial for a side, definitely in sevens, because if you've got all your different players stepping up and all playing as a side that is in form, it means that there aren't really any players that are dragging the chain. You don't feel like you've always got to rely on the same guys. Like we look through at the South African side, and of course, Sullivan Davids is always going to give you a great performance. Zane Davids as well. Ryan Oosthuizen's been phenomenal, but you could just list about 10 South African players who are currently in great form, and that is why they have been so dangerous. They've found a really good group here. I think they're bringing back Roscoe Speckman's helped them out massively. They've got a few young guys on the up, including Nokia, who'll be looking for another double just like he had in the last... Well, in fact, he got a double in the last competition, and he got a double so far in Cape Town in the first opening game. Who do you think will win this game based on the previous games on both sides? I actually predicted a 19 points to 14 win for South Africa in my preview, so let's see whether or not that will be correct. I feel like, to be honest though, if either of these sides were to run away with it, it would be South Africa. I think that their kicking game up against Ireland could be very beneficial in the way that they like to put it behind. What time will the kickoff be? They are on the field now, and Sullivan Davids is just about to get us underway for this contest, ladies and gentlemen. So I will mention, if you are new, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, because we are just about ready for the final game in the Cape Town Sevens Day 1. I think South Africa's biggest weapon is having so many guys who can take the playmaker role and do it well, says Sean Lee's exactly right. They've got so many players stepping up, and Ryan Oosthuizen's a perfect example of that. Everyone's looking at Selvin Davids, but looking at that next guy next to him, which is Ryan Oosthuizen, he has been able to really help the side in terms of the way that they've attacked, but currently positioned in favour of the Irish, and it is actually going to be an early penalty conceded by Gerald. Now, I have to say he's been pretty 50-50 in terms of the way that he's played. He's had kicking opportunities at the post that he has missed. He's also given away the most yellow cards, I believe, out of any player in the Seventh Circuit since returning, and tuned him from the barn in Wellington. The Wellington not too far from Cape Town. I'm patiently, nervously waiting, says Bruce in there as well. Yeah, there are a few things that will be confirmed after this contest. New Zealand, they are waiting to find out whether they are taking on either South Africa or whether they are taking on Ireland. Neither game will be easy. This looks like there's an early injury here for Jack Kelly, which is the last thing that Ireland want at this stage of the competition. I think that that's actually something that drastically hurt Canada in their final game in the group stage. They lost 2 players in the build-up, Phil Burner, and also they lost, I believe it was, who was the other player they lost? The Canadians. I know it was another one of their forwards, though. What do you think about Schutten van Wyk? I think he's a brilliant player. It's a massive shame he took a head knock earlier on, because I believe that means he's going to be out for the rest of the Cape Town Sevens, but he's got a ton of pace, and when they kick that ball in behind, you always know he's going to be somewhere around where that ball is ending up. There's going to be a knock on there from the South Africans early on, and now a scrum feed for the Irish on around their halfway line. I'm back, had to get a tea break. Morena Peeps go Ireland, says Nazi Williams, hello. Says Alta with the South African flags, and go the Blitzies go, says Merley there, and Hamish looking great as usual, rock on the rugby, says Ruth. And there as well, but currently 1 minute down in this contest, still a long 13 minutes to go. We know both of these sides are going to bring that intensity and try and put on a show for the crowd in Cape Town for day one. Let's put back into the pocket. Ireland in possession. I mentioned earlier on that they've opted to not go with Terry Kennedy, and also no Mark Roach in the starting side. Means that they will have a ton of power off the bench and a ton of speed to go with it. Harry McNulty off a double in the last contest, does get tackled well low by Zane Davids. Oosthuizen trying the counter ruck, doesn't quite manage to get his hands on the ball, and now Ireland, big shot coming in from Zane Davids. Working the breakdown from Selvin Davids, wins the turnover, takes the quick tap, and looking to advance play here. Ryan Oosthuizen, big fend, and the offload to Nokia. He's a superstar, but he's being dragged down 10 metres out from the line. Now Davids, little bit hesitant to get that ball out. Roscoe Speckman scores the try in the corner. That is the perfect example of being on attack, or being a side that look like they've got a good chance of scoring in Ireland, and then one counter-attack is all it takes to be able to walk away with the first try of the game. Cape Town, bloody windy. Cool for summer, says Ruth. And also, bro, is it just my eyes, or is your camera tab blurry? Says Nazi. That's a good question. I think it's all right, but I could be wrong. Maybe it is a bit blurrier than normal. I hope you are doing well, Nazi. You're enjoying your morning so far. Now, it'll be a tough drop kick from the sideline. Gerald is unable to convert it, but the score early on in this contest sits at 5 points to 0 in favour of South Africa. So a great start to this match. It'll be very interesting to see whether or not they can keep that intensity and what that does for the Irish optimism of this contest. Currently, the way that it would be sitting, if South Africa win this game, they play New Zealand in the quarterfinals. That is going to be an absolutely massive one. And Typo Blitzies says Alta, it's kicked off, beautifully taken there, just inside of their own territory now, Argentina. And nice attacking run from Fraha. Oh, I said Argentina. Sorry, it's actually Ireland playing. They look so similar to Los Pumas, but that'll be a knock-on. And now it's going to be South Africa who have got themselves the scrum. And Cape Town is windy, but it's still good weather. Says Desmond, yeah, I think it's about 20-something degrees there at the game, which is fantastic to see. Just a little knock-on the ground there from Ireland. If you were South Africa, would you rather play New Zealand or Australia in the quarters? I think, to be honest, for South Africa, they'd probably rather play Australia just because last time they played Australia in the quarterfinals was last week and they beat them by around 18 points or so. So I feel like that would give them a lot of confidence heading into the game again. Although saying that, Australia the only side to beat Canada in Pool C, so maybe you prefer to play New Zealand, who have lost 2 games, but does that mean redemption is on the cusp for the Kiwis? It's a very hard decision. That's going to be a loose ball from Goodold. Another mistake from that man. I think that's about 3 now for this contest. Going off to the left-hand side, opting to go for actually they're kicking behind, and he's winning the foot race big time, but the ball bounced in awkwardly, beautifully claimed by 99, and Ireland will score the try. Between the sticks as well, little mistake from Goodold, creates counter opportunity, and Gavin Mullen scores his 4th try of the 7th circuit. It is his 2nd in Cape Town, but the kicking behind, Zane Davids, he knew he wasn't winning that foot race. A couple of the South African players just jogging back there. Nokia and Speckman, the miscommunication, and the Irish go in for their first try of the match. Here's 3 Hamish best commentator, Whoopi Hamish, says Alta, and also we have got their Let's Go Irish Whiskey, says Ruth, but that kick has gone over, so that will give the lead to the Irish. With 1.5 minutes remaining, the crowd aren't quite as loud as they just were, and because of that try, if Ireland were to win this game, it would mean that they would be playing New Zealand. Now, they have never beaten New Zealand in a game of sevens, but what a time to do it in a playoff contest. Go like this, and like this, there we go. But the other 2 quarterfinals have already been confirmed. Fiji versus France, and Canada, they will be taking on Argentina. And Desmond, hello there. Also, we got there, Desmond, this one kills me. It's awful. I love this channel from Dylan here in Ireland. So here's Dylan, so I appreciate you being here, mate. Hopefully, you will be tuning in for those quarterfinals where Ireland will either be playing New Zealand or Australia. We will be covering either match on the channel. Cape Town certainly bringing the atmosphere by the looks of it. They are absolutely loving it. I'm willing to put my head on the block here, but I think defensively, South Africa is still the best team. Last couple of circuits, your thoughts? Says Sean Lees. They've had their moments overall. Like so far this year, I would say they have been across these last 2 legs, seeing as they are undefeated at this point. Last year, they did have times where they did really struggle, unfortunately. And it's tricky to say who would be above them, though. I think Argentina's defense overall last year was phenomenal. But I don't know whether or not people would say it was the best. I love this channel from Hawaii. Says Razor Robinson. Ball available for the Blitzboks just outside of their 22. I don't get how the seats works for the quarters. Says Mikhail. So pretty much because there are 8 teams, it makes it very awkward in terms of who goes through. There is a knock-on from South Africa there. Now, there might have been a high shot on Ryan Oosthuizen while he was trying to grab that ball, but it is now going to be the scrum for Ireland right out in front of the Blitzboks post. I would rather play New Zealand because they were not very good today, and South Africa be really good today. Says Manus, and also make us proud Blitzies. But yeah, the simplest way of describing it, Mikhail, is the winner of this contest faces New Zealand, the loser faces Australia. A few nervous faces there in Cape Town. Watching on for this game now, the Blitzboks have been able to fight back from more than a 2-point margin behind. But a 9-point margin would almost be uncharted territory for this. Yeah, the ball available. Beautiful flat run from Mullen. He's over. And he gets his 2nd try of the contest for the Irish. And the fact that they've still got Terry Kennedy to come off the bench is massively beneficial here for Ireland. Los Boomers defend very well as well. South Africa and Argentina don't have huge players, but they have very strong in defence. Okay, but YFG are going against France again, says Mikhail. So the reason they are playing France is it's the best 3rd place team, which is France, going up against 1st in Pool B. So because there are only 3 groups rather than the 4, it means that the best 2 3rd place teams do go through to the next stage. Not a good start from South Africa in this game. And Blitzboks want Australia, says Tato. Maybe. Okay, is Barry Baker still playing these days? He has been left behind, so he's not actually playing in this series, but I believe he will be back for them in the future and coming to Ireland, says Dylan there. Thanks, Hamish, I get it now. says Mikhail there. No worries at all. But so far we have seen 2 visits to the opposition 22 for Ireland. They have scored in both. South Africa have just visited the once, and they actually scored in that visit as well. Okay, Jack Kelly just given a massive team talk. He's saying our energy is nowhere near high enough. The only way we win this game is if we take it to that next level. See whether or not they can do it. In the second half, what happened to Kenya, Hamish? So they cut it down to 12 teams, which meant that Kenya, Japan, and a few other sides missed out, but they are still playing in an invitational tournament that has actually taken place this weekend with the likes of Tonga, Papua New Guinea, Germany. There's quite a few other teams that are in there as well. But currently they are playing Zombie, and the crowd, they are absolutely loving it. And gives the Aussies, says Thato, and also Irish Whiskey strong today, says Ruth. There is still time, of course, for the Blitzboks to be able to get back into this contest, but they will need a good start. They are down by 9. Like I mentioned, this is a little bit of unfamiliar territory for a side that has been so dominant. 8 wins from 8. Can they show exactly why they have been able to pull off those 8 wins? And that's one thing that they've done beautifully, is they managed to win games that they look like they're not winning. So, see how they go in the second 7 minutes. Counter right off the blitz. He's exactly right. Now we will meet them in the finals if they make it. It's going to be slapped back, but it is claimed now by Ireland. Unfortunately, not claimed cleanly by Selvin Davids for the Blitzboks. Now another chance for Harry McNulty in the midfield. South Africa, they have to try and work out what it is that they need to do. That's a knock backwards, they've said. That is going to be play on. Roscoe Speckman manages to make the tackle there. Referee says play on, and Patrick and Seamus, Irish Bloodhounds, woof. And no more Toronto Arrows. Rugby Canada is having some real struggles at the moment. Yeah, that's struggling big time. So that's why them being able to do so well here, that is some rough passing from Ireland, giving the ball away. Gerdold trying to go for the offload on the ground, and I think he might have made a little bit of a mistake there. They will go back for the original knock-on, though, from from Ireland. South Africa now on attack. And that is certainly not what the Irish skipper there, or at least the Irish leader in Jack Kelly, asked for. He said we need to bring the intensity in the second half. We need to go out to that next level. That passing looked, to be honest, absolutely awful. So I found what I'm looking for. Yeah, let's go. Says Blues Nick for a bit of you too. So if anybody saw his Wapi on the sideline, Korea tries 150. He's got an injury at the moment, though, unfortunately, that has left him out. But he'll be looking forward to the chance of returning in the near future. Ronald Brown now with the sniping run. Souse the dummy. He's elusive. Gets the offload away to Gerdold, who just throws that ball backwards to keep it alive. Ryan Oosthuizen looking for that next passing option. Doesn't have one. Ireland counter-ruck, do not get it right as they have swept that ball back from the breakdown. And South Africa now with the penalty 15 metres out from the try line. We have got there YouTube Bono, yeah. What's your prediction for the men's and women's rugby sevens competition next year at the Olympics in Paris? It's a tricky one, isn't it? Because at this stage, I can't predict South Africa to win because they haven't actually qualified yet. But I honestly feel like Fiji are always tough at the Olympics. They've shown that time and time again that seems to be the competition that they really come right for. I think that women's will be between New Zealand and Australia again. That just seems to be the way that it is setting up currently. And USA just need Danny Boom Boom Barrett back, says Razor. Yeah, they've got a few of their key players missing, unfortunately, for the USA. Only 5 minutes remaining. There's going to be the scrum for South Africa again. After opting to go for the scrum off the penalty. Seems like a good option here. And why can't I watch it live on here, says Stuart? Unfortunately, due to licensing, any match footage or audio gets us taken straight off YouTube, but you can catch it on the HSBC website, depending on where you are in the world. And also at Rugby Pass TV do have a few of the games being shown live there. Ronald Brown trying to go through. He's had the ball stripped out of his hands. And it is a knock-on. Almost scores the try. He's normally all smiles, but he is not smiling at the moment, Ronald Brown, as he knows that was the opportunity to get back into the contest. Does end up missing out. Now Ireland, They need to find a way of exiting their 22 here, because anytime they've been passing while the Blitzboks have been defense orientated, it's just been very tricky for them to get that pass away that creates the line break. Instead, it's normally a turnover for South Africa. Brilliant defending from Ireland, exactly right. They showed it last year on the 7 circuit how dangerous they can be, and I feel like this is one of those games that they want to prove what they can do. They'll have a big challenge up against New Zealand in the quarterfinals if they do manage to win this contest, but it will give them a lot of confidence beating South Africa, being the first team to do so throughout 2023-24 season. Mark Roach passes across now. Ireland trying to use some physicality to get themselves on attack from inside of their own 22. Some quick stepping as well there from Jack Kelly. Moves up to 22 metres out. No clear release there from Mpivisa. Gives away the penalty. And now Ireland will be able to kick this one for the touchline. Great bit of work from McNulty to just get those few extra metres. Go Ireland, says Natikahu. And Mark Roach looking for the touchline. Has he found it? Yes. He's done well. We've seen a few times that the kicks haven't been able to find the touchline, and that has hurt sides in the past. Looks like Roach wanting to get on with this line out, although they have got that 9-point lead, so they don't want to rush it too much. But another try here for the Irish might be just enough to secure them the victory in this contest. I have run through the field only to be with you, says Naz. Oh, it was Blues Nate quoting a bit of you too. That was not straight from Ireland. And it is going to be play on. Maybe it was just the camera angle, but for us it looked like it almost went sideways. And come on Ireland, says the Blues Nate. Kelly going across. I should mention that Terry Kennedy hasn't really touched the ball until now. His first touch of the game. Look for the offload on the outside. Big shot coming in on the man with them. It's going to be another scrum. Let's go Ireland. Says Gus, and come on Ireland. Says Blues Nate. Tomorrow will be the day that Ireland men's squad beat New Zealand for the very first time. You'd have first from Dylan here in Ireland. Says Dylan. And to be honest with the way that they're playing, I believe you. Like, they've been very strong throughout this competition. If they were to walk away with 3 from 3 in their group stage, like, that would be massive, massive for the confidence of Ireland. And also, what's going on? Let's go. I love upsets. Says WMS. Looks like Jordan Conroy now to make his way onto the field. So a very important last 2.5 minutes for him defensive-wise. All-time tries for Ireland sitting at the top of the bunch. Terry Kennedy sitting there as well. And now the Wald Human. Flat ball to Machale. Tries the risky little flick pass offload. Does not work out. Ronald Brown, they're all over him in the breakdown, but South Africa still in possession. In fact, it wasn't that man that I mentioned. It was actually Litebele who went for the bit of an offload rather than Machale. Now, TM Pretorius stepping on the short side, tackled by Mark Roach. The more time that South Africa spend inside of their own half, the better it is for Ireland. There will be superb playoffs played tomorrow. Nice pass on the outside to Speckman, who's going to start stepping, look for the offload, threw it away into touch. It's forward, so they will go for the scrum, I believe, here. South Africa seem panicked or almost rattled in this game in the way that they're playing. They're doing things that they haven't been doing throughout their 8 victories, like that offload from Speckman. If it pays off, you might make 5 extra metres or so, but if it doesn't, you give away the scrum. In fact, it's going to be the line out instead for the Irish. Now with 1 minute 20 remaining, it's stolen by the Blitzboks, but they have not given up yet. The Wald Human, skip pass out to Roscoe Speckman, beating Jordan Conroy. Now off to Ronald Brown, sells the dummy. They know by now that he's going to go for a run himself. Now Machale look into the short side. 5 metres out from their own line. Ireland's, their defence so far throughout this match has been very strong, and it's ripped away by the Irish in the breakdown. Letebele loose carry. And because of it now, it is back on the side of Ireland. It's taken back though by the Blitzboks. Because the ball was stripped, it is play on. South Africa score the try, and they will now be only 2 points down going into the last 30 seconds. This game is not over yet, ladies and gentlemen. It could be pressure from playing at home for South Africa, says Gus. Let's go Ireland, luck of the Irish stuff, even though I'm not watching, says Razor. And not too much luck against Ireland for South Africa. It'll be a tough upcoming series against Ireland here in 15s, says cool story, bro. But that is the last minute try that South Africa did need to keep their hopes of winning this game alive. They will now be sitting with 10 seconds remaining. 12 points to 14. I feel like if you're Ireland, you've got to kick this deep. Oh, in fact, sorry, it's South Africa kicking off. So it's the opposite. They will be kicking off short, looking to retain this ball. The Walled Human has to make sure it goes to 10, and it does. McNulty claims it, and now Ireland have got that ball. They boot it into touch, and they end the undefeated winning streak of South Africa for their 2023-24 season. And in front of the Cape Town crowd, it's completely silent at the ground at the moment. A side that have done so well throughout today, getting themselves 2 wins, have now been defeated by the Irish. And keep going, lads. Fighting Irish teams. South Africa needs to get this back off the kickoff. A nice job, Ireland. Says McCall, well, says WMS. And Malauso says, hey, welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing extremely well. What does this mean for South Africa? They are still through to the quarterfinals, and they will be playing Australia now in their next contest. So it does mean that they are up against the Aussies. Ireland will be up against New Zealand in the next stages of the quarterfinals. And like they've said, a great day one for Ireland. 3 in a row. Man of the match, Gavin Mullen, 2 tries throughout this game. He certainly deserved it with the way he was able to play an Irish stew. And also maybe the Blitzboks are happy to end second on the log. Is he road to the final maybe, says Roger. I mean, I don't think it will concern them too much in terms of this defeat here, because they're up against Australia now, a side that they played in Dubai in the quarterfinals. They were able to beat them in that contest 24 points to 7, so they know that they can do it. Ireland were a bit of an unknown. They haven't actually played them yet. At what time next game? Says it was there, or next game, says Nuzzy Williams. So the next game that we are covering, I'll just have a very quick look. We are going to be, of course, doing all the quarterfinals that are coming around the corner. So we have now got some confirmation of time. Samoa are playing Spain. That is at 8:54 p.m. New Zealand time tomorrow night. We will be covering that game on the channel. We have then got the matchup taking place between Argentina and Canada for the men's quarterfinals, followed by Ireland versus New Zealand, followed by Australia versus South Africa, and then last but not least, it will be Fiji versus France. That is at 10:40 p.m. New Zealand time. And then probably 9th place playoff will be at 12:28, will be the next game after that. For the women's side of things, I think we are pretty quiet for the quarters that I know of. And then, yeah, we will be into hopefully either the semis or the final match, fixing to play the Aussies rather, doing a Rassi technique, says Bruce. And also thanks a lot for the content, Hamish. Says Mikhail, no worries at all, mate. And it is greatly appreciated you guys all being here all throughout the night. I mentioned about how the Champions Cup is on at the moment between Bulls and Saracens. Now, we will be covering the Champions Cup next weekend with the Sevens being on standby for about a month and a half. So be sure to check out those streams. Anyone who is new to the channel, though, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. We didn't quite get the prediction right. I did predict South Africa to win this game 19 points to 14. Perhaps if they had got a last-minute try, that could have been the case. But the Irish just too strong in this game. And now, let's see what happens and the quarterfinals. Thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, like I mentioned, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And I will see you all for the next one.